Yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now that's right, today we're back hot off the heat, hot off the steam, because everyone is in this huge Predator mood because of the new film released on Hulu, Disney Plus, Prey. So I thought I'd come on and rank every Predator film. I am going to include the two Alien vs Predator films, so we've got 7 films to go over here. We're doing Predator. Yeah, it's just called Predator, isn't it? Yeah, Predator. Predator 2, Predators, The Predator, Prey, Alien vs Predator, and Alien vs Predator Requiem. So yeah, 7 films to go over. So we got a fair chunk to go over there. And guys, remember, at the end of the day, this is just my opinion. Take it with a pinch of salt. It is what it is. This isn't fact. It is what it is. But anyway, I'm gonna just scooch on over here so that we can have the lovely movie posters come up as we talk about each movie. And yeah, we're going to start at the very bottom here. We're going to start with the bottom of the barrel. This is what I consider the worst of the 7 films we're going to talk about today. And I genuinely think this film is awful in more or less every way. Coming in last place is going to be Alien vs Predator Requiem. This film, first off, you've got to be able to see it. Because I had to rewatch 2 movies on this list because I couldn't remember loads about them. And this was one of them. I got halfway through it last night and honest to God turned it off. I have seen it in its entirety before, so this isn't an unfair judgment. But my God, I couldn't see what was happening. There's a scene where the Predator's sort of suiting up, but he's doing it in the sewers. And my God, you can't tell what's happening. You just see his hand doing something somewhere on his body. You don't know whether it's his wrist, his belt, or he's having a quick one. You don't know what he's doing. You can't tell. And it's unbelievable that they thought that this movie was okay. It's maybe the worst lighting I've ever seen in a movie. There are some movies out there which are genuinely too dark, and I get the complaints, but this might very well be the worst one. It's awful. And then in terms of story, first off, the characters are all unbelievably bad. Now, I know you don't go to a Predator film looking for good characters, but you expect decent characters, decently written ones. I don't know who the main character of this movie is because it focuses on, like, these 2 brothers, and then there's another sort of group, a woman who's lost her husband and child, and then there's a couple police officers. And it doesn't sort of establish this is the one we're going to follow, and the others are your side characters. It doesn't establish any of that. It really just flicks back and forth equally. And yeah, in terms of having a main protagonist, it just doesn't really have one. It's a very weird choice. And then the plot itself, a suburban town, yeah, this could be interesting. We've sort of already seen a Predator go to the city in Predator 2. I know this is, as I say, it's more of a suburban town, but it's just a boring location. And the plot itself is just very, yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, the aliens land, they break loose, and then Predator goes around killing people and humans just getting in the way. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And the whole mixing an alien and Predator together to make a big badass one, it's something I would do as a kid when I was playing my toys. Like, yes, we're going to mix them together. It's embarrassingly bad, this movie. I don't know why they got a first-time director to do it. All the acting sucks. The score's generic. And I would say that one thing that was cool would be the practical effects, but you got to be able to see them. You got to be able to see them. This film is so bad. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. I genuinely believe it's that bad. There probably one day will be a bad movie review on my channel of it. And of the next movie we're going to talk about, these are the only 2 films on this list I feel this strongly about that they're bad. And that is The Predator from 2018. So a lot of people have been talking about this one recent weeks because people have been doing rewatch of the whole Predator franchise. A lot of people have left the Alien vs Predator ones out, which is, I get it, you know, they're not the best films, obviously. But I've seen some people actually trying to defend this movie. Now, I want to remind people of what the main narrative of this movie is. The Predator comes to Earth to get autism because it feels it's the next stage in evolution for the Predator. That is the plot. The Predator wants autism. Yeah, it's, so for some reason, of course, as every franchise does, instead of just plopping a Predator down in this town and having him go on a killing spree, they have to give all this backstory to a Predator and stuff. We have to try and make it make sense, and it's like, no, Predator's just, the whole point of them is you stick them in a movie and they hunt people and kill people. We don't need this. So I hated that. The characters are embarrassing. I think someone watched too many Marvel movies. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Marvel fan. I really love the MCU. But someone just saw a Marvel movie and went, do that. The characters don't feel real. They feel more like comic book characters. They're cracking jokes 24/7. And then we have the whole Predator thing where there is a Predator running about, and there's a very cool scene where he breaks out of a lab. That bit was great, and the practical effects on that Predator were great. But then we need to go bigger, badder. So then a huge CGI Hulk-sized one comes in, and it really, really pulled me out of the movie. I was like, oh, God, here we go. I don't mind them going bigger with the Predator. They did it in Predators, the 2010 one. But, yeah, I don't know why. Here they went even bigger, and the CGI didn't look great. The dogs weren't very good at all. One of them, of course, becomes good. The kid actor in it wasn't good. The lead guy, the guy who was in the Suicide Squad, was terrible in this. I don't even know if there was any characters I like. I wanted to say, was it Michael Keegan-Key's character? But I think that's just because I like him as an actor. And then at the end, it's one of the few times I've laughed out loud in the cinema, and I actually had to catch myself because I laughed so loud in the cinema, and I was the only one laughing. Was at the end where he got the suit and someone was like, what's that? And he's like, that's my new suit. I genuinely burst out laughing in the cinema. I actually had to go like, oh. And it is embarrassing. Again, someone watched a Marvel film and was like, let's give him a suit. He can be a superhero and he could go around fighting predators in the next films. Shane Black is such a good director. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, The Nice Guys. Great films. I actually really like Iron Man 3 as well. I don't know what went wrong with this one, but it is truly terrible. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. Okay. Clear minds now. We're on to okay films here, I think. Next up is the first Alien vs. Predator film. So I know that some people hate this movie as well, and I get it. I do get it. But I don't mind this one as much. There's definitely issues with it, don't get me wrong. But I can actually have fun with this one, unlike the second AVP. But don't get me wrong, there's some bad stuff about it. First off, the sound mixing is terrible in the movie. I think the acting is pretty diabolical. A lot of the cinematography is just flat and boring. But again, do you go to a Predator film looking for these things? Not really. And yeah, again, first time director, you can tell. It's cut and edited together. You can tell it's an early 2000s movie. It's dated a little bit already. But there is a funness to this one. It's like, yeah, the Predators have a place where there's a load of aliens and they go there and they hunt. They just kill them all. And it's like, this makes sense. This is what a Predator would do, which I kind of liked. And it was cool to see these humans coincidentally get caught up in it. You know, of course, it's always coincidental. But, you know, that's what makes these movies, I suppose. And it worked really well, I thought. I thought the film... you can have fun with it. I think the aliens look very cool, and the predators obviously are badasses. You kind of end up rooting for the predators as well. I like what they've done out of the two aliens and predators, because the aliens are more like animals, the xenomorphs, and the predators, you know, they're more closer to a human, obviously, because they sort of walk on two legs and stuff, and they got the technology. They sort of lean towards the predator being a bit more good than the alien, and, you know, don't get me wrong, I don't like the predator being a goodie necessarily, but it makes sense in this movie. This isn't a great film, obviously. I'm probably being too kind to it here. I'd actually love, I know people are probably going to scream at me for this, but I'd love to see a new Alien vs. Predator movie, because it's the time of crossovers, you know, with the MCU and the DCEU going, and you've got things like Godzilla vs. Kong that's just come out. Or just come out 2 years ago nearly now. But, you know, we're in that generation, that era now of movies where things are crossing over constantly. I feel like put a competent director in the seat, I feel like we could get a really good modern Alien vs. Predator. But anyway, this one is, I'm going to be a bit kind. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I think it is, it's not a very good movie, but you can have fun with it. And that's the best I've got for that. Next up, we have, coming in 4th place, yeah, that's where we're at. I have Predator 2, yeah, 1990, I believe this one came out. This was the other movie I had to rewatch because this one isn't very memorable for me compared to the ones that are going to come above it. But I still have a lot of fun with this movie. I still think there's a lot of good things about it. Again, I like the whole idea of putting him in a city. You know, we've done a jungle. let's do the complete opposite. Let's put him in a city. Love that. And I really like the characters in it. Again, something that a lot of Predator films fall flat on. The ones we've just spoken about, more or less, have very bleh characters. This one, I really like them. The whole kind of police crew that you're with at the start. And then they all slowly get picked off one by one throughout the film, sort of. I thought that was really, really cool. And, you know, it is, I know it's 1990, but it just feels like a cheesy 80s movie, and I love that about it, to be honest. Like, there's a line in it that kills me. Bill Paxton says something like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm a cop," and then someone says back to him, like, about the Predator, he's like, "I don't think he gives a shit." I love that. I love that about this movie. And I actually really like the ending to it. It was very different from any other Predator film. Obviously, you know, our main character, played by, oh my god, what's his name? What's his name? I can't think of the actor who stars in this movie. I'm drawing a mind blank. I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments. But, you know, he doesn't get covered up in mud like they do in a lot of the other movies. He you know, has to actually kind of be a bit smart with beating the Predator in this one. And I like the fact that there's like a whole gang war going on in this one. It really, it's interesting. You know, I love the fact that they didn't just do another jungle movie. They did actually do some really interesting stuff with this one. But yeah, at the end of the day, though, this one here, it doesn't quite, I don't know why it isn't as memorable as the others. It just never sticks with me as much, this movie. It's a good time, but it didn't blow me away. I'm going to give this film a 6.5 out of 10. So then, now we're down to what we got left. We've got the first one, we got Predators, and we got Prey. So we've got 3 films left. Coming in next, I've been tossing and turning with this one all day, what order to put these 2 movies in. But I'm going to go with Predators next. Which is really... do you know what? I think this is the most rewatchable one for me. I actually really like Predators from 2010. I know it's just got quite a low Letterboxd score. I'm not sure why. Because I actually love the idea of this one. We go to the Predator... I don't know if it's the Predator's planet, but we go to another planet. They take the best humans in terms of, like, their capability in warfare and stuff. Good fighters, good soldiers. So they're giving themselves a challenge, and it's all about, you know, can the Predators kill them? And I love that about it. I think it's really cool. And again, the group that you're sort of with at the start, they're very established. It reminds me a lot of the original movie with Arnie, where it's very good at building up the tension to get into the Predator. It teases you first with some weird Predator dog things, which are a lot better than the ones in The Predator from 2018. And you really do get to know the characters. I really like Adrian Brody in this movie. I know some people say he's a bit boring because he's a bit of a grunt kind of character in this, and I get it, I do get it, but I quite like that. I really like the female actress in this movie. She does a great job. And I like all the other characters. You can tell with a couple of them that some of them are a little bit... something not quite there with them, and you have to go along with the movie to figure that out, and I really like that aspect of it. But yeah, I do have a good time with this movie. I think my issue with this movie is the Lawrence Fishburne bit pulled me out of the movie a bit. I wasn't really sure how the hell he survived that long. They do explain it, but it's a little bit hard to believe. And yeah, so that bit there sort of pulled me out a bit. But I you know, it's a good movie, and I really liked, again, the big Predator in this one. It's so weird because you have Predator dogs and you have bigger Predators in this one. The 2018 one just went way too far with all that. This one done it really well. I think this is a little bit of an underrated movie, but it's a fun time. I'm going to give it a pretty good score because I really do enjoy this movie. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. But then second place is going to go to the brand new one, Prey. This really is on a similar level to Predators for me. But I think there are aspects about Prey I respect more. I think Predators might be a bit more rewatchable for me. Prey has just come out, so that might change. But I think I respect Prey more as a movie because it really did actually go into the Predator lore quite a bit. Like going back and, you know, you had the flintlock gun from the second Predator movie. So it's acknowledging that film. Of course, it's been a prequel. And just seeing the evolution of the Predator. Like, he doesn't have his metal mask. He's got more of a bone one on. It looks like the look of the Predator's quite different. So maybe evolution, you know, he hasn't evolved into the Predator that we know today. I love that kind of stuff. And again, I respect the filmmakers so much just for going, let's not carry on after the 2018 one. Let's do a prequel. Let's go back. We're going to go back to, like, you know, these Indian kind of, Native American kind of this tribe, and we're going to have him attack them. I think that's such a cool idea. And my friend Ryan, who I do the podcast with, said this brilliantly. Keep making Predator films like this. Let's go to ancient Egypt now. Let's go to Vikings. Let's just stick a Predator in any of these kind of different cultures, samurai or something, and just see how they deal with him. Because I think that's such a cool idea. We don't need 2018's Predator where we need to explore the lore and why the Predator's here, blah, 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 blah. Just stick a Predator in anything, and I think it would work so well. And I hope they make more movies like this. I wouldn't mind a sequel to Prey because they kind of tease it at the end. But I personally would rather just go to, like, ancient Egypt or, you know, some samurais or something. I think that'd be cool. But anyway, I've got off topic a little bit. So, yeah, this film moves really well. I think there's a lot of great stuff about it. I love the lead character in it, and I think she does a fantastic job. And I really think it makes sense as to how she beats the Predator, because I had someone in my comments the other day on my review going, woke, 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 my least favourite word in the world. You know, and I think it actually makes so much sense. She witnesses the Predator kill so many things. She watches how he kills, and the Predator's pretty beat up by the end of the movie. And I also like that a lot about this film, that you see the Predator get broken down. He isn't just an invincible monster in this one, you know. He, like, straight away the snake gets a bite on him and you see some blood. The bear gets a few hits on him. The humans get a few hits on him, and I like that. And I think it all actually makes it makes sense how he's eventually beaten. This character is seeing him constantly beaten up. She's seeing how he kills as well. And I just think it's really, really well done. And I love the fact as well that the Predator sort of looks at the food chain. You know, he starts with the snake and goes to the wolf, to the bear, to the humans. I think that's great. There's a lot of really cool aspects about this movie. And since I watched it last week on release, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I'm going to bump my score up a little bit. I'm going to go to an 8 out of 10. I think it's a really, really solid movie. And I'm so happy to see the Predator franchise back on track. It's such an improvement over the 2018 one. But, yeah, of course, first place. Predator, the original, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was going to say, I don't know how you couldn't put this one first, but, you know, Predators and Prey are very good movies, so, yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't be too upset over people putting them two above the original, but, I mean, the original is just such a classic. I think it is just so cool. You've got to remember, this is the first time the Predator came to the screen, and the look of this monster, and, you know, the design of him and all the practical effects, they aced it. Perfect. And I also think they aced, because, again, first time they're doing it, the tension to get to this creature, because you know it's there. They tease it. It's very similar to, like, an Invisible Man type vibe. But the build-up, the tension building to get there is just fantastic. It is so well done. And surrounded by that, you have the best characters the Predator franchise has probably had. You really get to know this group that is sort of just stuck out there in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, Arnie, and he is what he is. Yeah, he's not the best actor in the world, but it's always a pleasure to watch him. And he's great in this movie. You know, get to the chopper! So many incredible lines. You one ugly motherfucker. You know, so many fantastic lines in this movie. Yeah, the pacing of it's brilliant. The score is cheesy but fun. It is just such a joy to watch every time. I've got a huge poster of it up on my wall above my Blu-rays. Yeah, I love this movie. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. But there we go. There is my ranking for the Predator franchise. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below how your ranking would look. And as always, I'll see you next time for another video. Bye-bye.